Okay, we all know what gravity is, right? It's the force that literally holds our world together. But what if there's another kind of gravity? One that doesn't pull on planets, but on our very souls. Today, we're going to dive into a spiritual concept that suggests exactly that. It's called the law of universal gravitation of life.
I mean, think about that for a second. It's a pretty wild idea, isn't it? An invisible force, just like the one holding you in your chair right now, but instead, it's shaping your spiritual journey. This is a force that could be determining our connections, our sense of belonging, and maybe, just maybe, where our souls are actually headed.
So yeah, that's the big idea we're unpacking today. A spiritual law that kind of mirrors Newton's, suggesting our souls are subject to this powerful, inescapable pull. But to really get our heads around it, we first have to see how this spiritual gravity is both like and totally different from the physical gravity we all know. All right, let's jump right into section 1, a different kind of gravity. The best way to understand this is to put it right next to the physical gravity we all learned about in school.
And boom! Here's where the comparison really clicks. On one hand, you've got Newton's law, the one running the cosmic dance of planets and stars. But on the other hand, you've got this spiritual gravity. It's the force that tethers our souls, not by their physical mass, but by things like our relationships, our homes, and all that unfinished business we carry around.
Okay, so that leads us right into section 2, life's universal law. Because, if this spiritual gravity is a real thing, it has to have its own rules, right? So what are they? How do you even measure this kind of invisible force? So here's the official definition from the text. Now, it sounds a little academic, but the core idea is actually super simple. Think of debts as all of our attachments. Unresolved feelings, things we feel we owe, even a really deep sense of gratitude. The more of that stuff we carry, the stronger the pull. And then favors are the opposite. They're all about selfless giving. The more you give without wanting anything back, the lighter you become, and the weaker that pull gets on your soul.
So basically, our whole spiritual journey works like a kind of cosmic balance sheet. Our attraction to people, to places, it gets stronger with the weight of our debts, and it gets weaker with the lightness of our selfless favors. It's like this invisible economy of the soul, where every single connection we have has its own gravitational price tag.
And get this, according to the text, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's a force we actually feel, like every day. You ever feel that deep, painful ache of homesickness? Well, that's supposedly the gravitational pull of the homeland that nurtured you. Or what about being in an amazing dream and suddenly feeling like you're yanked back into your body? That's the gravity of your earthly ties pulling you back. The text suggests this law is the hidden engine behind, pretty much everything, from near-death experiences to the entire cycle of reincarnation. Which, of course, brings us to a really important question. Let's call this section 3, the gravity of debt. If this force is always pulling on us, what is it that keeps us so anchored here? Well, the text says the answer is all about the incredible power of our spiritual debts. There's a quote from the source that is, it's chillingly direct. It paints our spiritual debts not just as things we owe, but as massive anchors. And it says, until every single last one is paid off, we are stuck, we are bound here, unable to move on to anything higher. So, where are our biggest debts? You might have guessed it. The source points straight at our families. All that love, the care, the sacrifices, they create this enormous spiritual debt. And that makes our family ties the single most powerful gravitational force keeping a soul locked into the mortal world. So, if we're all caught in this massive invisible gravity well, is there any way out? Is escape even possible? Well, the text says yes. But, just like a rocket leaving Earth, you have to hit a very specific spiritual escape velocity. Which brings us to section 4. And the philosophy behind this escape is pretty fascinating. This quote here from the Diamond Sutra suggests that when someone looks down on you or you endure some kind of hardship and you do it without resentment, you're actually paying off your past sins, your spiritual debts. It totally reframes suffering, right? It's no longer just something that happens to you. It becomes an active tool for your own liberation. It's a way to consciously shed your spiritual weight. So how do you actually do this? Well, the text lays out a pretty clear roadmap. First, you endure hardship willingly. Not like a victim, but like someone who knows they're settling an old account. Second, you serve others with absolutely no expectation of getting anything back. Third, you start to detach from worldly ties, weakening the pull of family and possessions. And fourth, you just practice this kind of unconditional giving, constantly doing good things to balance out those debts. When you do all this, you're literally changing your spiritual makeup.
You're reducing your mass so you can finally break free.
And that brings us to our final section, your final destination. I mean, after all that work, after breaking the chains of spiritual gravity, what happens next? Where does a soul that's finally free actually go?
To explain this, the source material goes right back to its most powerful analogy, space travel. It takes the cold, hard physics of cosmic velocity and maps it directly onto the soul's ultimate journey.
And this is really the mind-blowing climax of the whole idea. So you've got the first cosmic velocity, right? That's what lets a satellite orbit the Earth. Spiritually, that's like reaching the millennial realm. You're at peace, you're free from the day-to-day pull of Earth, but you're still in its system. Then there's the second cosmic velocity. That's what you need to escape Earth's gravity for good. That's like reaching the myriad-year realm, a place of incredible freedom. But then there's the third cosmic velocity. That's what it takes to escape the pull of our own sun and leave the solar system entirely. That is reaching the ultimate destination, the Elysian realm, a state of pure enlightenment, completely free from any of the lower gravity.
And so this whole spiritual law leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about. If this force is real, what gravity is holding you back? What debts, what attachments, what connections are defining the orbit of your own life? It's a fascinating and maybe even a really important way to look at our own purpose. Thanks for joining me.